Ever wish that you had the power source of Iron Man himself, an arc reactor pulsing with energy right inside your chest? Well, guess what? For a brief moment in history, some patients actually did have something almost as futuristic, a radioactive pacemaker. Today we're diving into the fascinating story of how doctors harnessed nuclear energy to power the human heart, creating a kind of real-life Tony Stark.
Pacemakers. These little devices send electrical impulses to keep your heart on a steady rhythm. They're lifesavers for many people with arrhythmias or other cardiac issues. But the problem used to be battery life. Modern pacemakers typically need replacement every 5-15 years, meaning repeated surgeries. However, in the 1970s, doctors and engineers thought, what if we skip the standard battery altogether and go nuclear? Enter the radioactive pacemaker. These futuristic devices contained a tiny pellet of plutonium-238. Plutonium is unstable. It undergoes radioactive decay, releasing heat. A specialized converter then took that heat and turned it into a steady supply of electrical energy. It was the perfect Iron Man gadget, except instead of repulsor blasts, you got a continuous, low-voltage electric current to keep your heart beating. This nuclear battery could last decades, potentially outliving the patient. No more frequent surgeries to swap out dead batteries. Imagine a miniature power plant right in your chest, humming away as long as the plutonium stayed radioactive. Pretty cool, right? The concept of using radioactive materials in pacemakers dates back to the late 1960s and early 1970s. Several companies and labs jumped on the idea, hoping it would revolutionize pacemaker technology. These devices were actually implanted in hundreds of patients around the world. Studies showed many of them went for years, sometimes decades, without needing any maintenance or replacement. It was like strapping on your own arc reactor and forgetting about it. If nuclear pacemakers were so miraculous, why did they fall out of favor? Public perception and fear. Radioactivity tends to freak people out, Iron Man fantasies aside. The idea of having plutonium in your chest was alarming to many patients, even if the risk of leakage or radiation damage was extremely low. Regulatory constraints. Government agencies like the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission had a very strict set of rules around storing, handling, and disposing of these devices. There were also concerns about what would happen if someone with a radioactive pacemaker died. How do you handle the remains safely? The disposal process for that plutonium core was a major headache. Liability and cost. Hospitals and device manufacturers faced high liability risk. Plus, nuclear materials are expensive and heavily controlled. Advancements in battery technology. Lithium-ion and other advanced batteries improved drastically over the years, making conventional pacemakers much more reliable and longer-lived. So the mainstream medical community eventually said, let's leave radioactive pacemakers behind. Radioactive pacemakers may not be around much anymore, but they're a testament to human innovation, a hint that the line between science fiction and medical reality can blur. Sure, we don't have actual arc reactors like Tony Stark, but the nuclear-powered pacemaker was a real-life demonstration of harnessing atomic energy for a greater good. And who knows, maybe the next leap in medical science will come from a piece of tech that glows in your chest. Until then, let's appreciate that we once used a tiny nuclear power plant to keep hearts beating strong.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed exploring this real-life Iron Man tech, hit the like button, subscribe for more captivating science and history stories, and let me know in the comments section. Would you wear a radioactive pacemaker if it meant never having to go back into surgery for a battery change again? Until next time, stay empowered and stay curious.